Good afternoon, Floss Tube. It's Julie with Reflections Framing and Stitching. I've been having trouble saying that today, so this is like the third time I've started the video. For some reason, I can't get the word reflections out of my mouth. How are you? It is, did I say? Nope, it is Saturday, the 10th of September. And this is Chart of the Week video number 140, I believe. I think. I'll double check it, but anyway, it's later in the day, and I think that's why I'm discombobulated. I've had a full day already, so it is close to 4. The shop is now closed. We had stitching in here for well, this is the second time I've tried it. We had a little more success this time. I think we had 11 or 12 stitchers showed up today for stitching, so that was nice. It was good to have them in the shop again, chattering away and stitching, and so hoping to do it again on the last Saturday of the month, so that was good. I'm probably going to do another video after this one, but I won't probably post it until later in the week. I did get my State Fair entries back, so I was going to show you those and talk about State Fair, but I'm going to do this as the chart of the week. So I'm gonna hop right in. How's that? I want to address the question of the week from, it was Olivia Okerleaf. The sleep issue and what you do when you wake up, because I forgot to look last time. So a surprising number of you actually get up and do things. You stitch, or you read, or you watch TV. I think I'm too lazy. I just stay in bed and do things in my head. It's warm and toasty in bed, and it's not in the house. So anyway, thank you for answering that question. Last week's question was what your favorite thing was from Expo, and surprisingly enough, well, I guess I'm not surprised, because I didn't find anything that was necessarily a had to have for me right this minute, and a lot of you didn't see anything that you couldn't wait on. There were a few of you that thought it was wonderful, which is fine. Everyone likes different things, so that's great that you saw a lot that you needed to add to your stash. I just didn't, nothing really connected. I think part of it is I have so many right now that I'm feeling the need to stitch or finish, that looking at other things is harder. Yeah, I think that's probably what it is I just want to get some things done and start some things that have been waiting. But again, thank you for responding to that question. And there hasn't been as many responses lately. I'm going to have to think of better questions, I think, because a lot of people have not. I think we only had, I don't even know if we had 50 responses on the last video. So I guess y'all are busy. So let's go over some comments and questions that I had from the last video, and then I'll start talking about this week's chart of the week. Carolyn asked if the saying on the Chessie and Me Have a Friend chart that I showed in the last video could be backstitched rather than stitched over one, or changed completely or left out completely. And yeah, you certainly could probably do that as a backstitched saying on there, and it would probably fit fine. So that is an idea that I had not thought of. So thank you for sharing that with us. Jean, in reference to my comment about putting things in the fair, not to win a ribbon, but to keep it in the public eye and expose other people to what we do. She said she had taken her stitching with her to an event, and I can't remember what that event was right off the top of my head. But she had taken it someplace, and a lady had commented on what an old-fashioned hobby that was. And she kind of was taken aback by that, which I understand. I get a little defensive when people say, "Oh, that's something that my grandma did," or you know, I didn't know people still did that. I get a little defensive and a little hurt and upset, because what we do is beautiful, and I hate when people foo-foo it, you know. And I'm not quite sure how to change their view of any kind of needlework, really. You know, I've heard people say the same thing about quilting. Oh, it's something my grandma did. Or I don't think I've heard anyone say anything about needlepoint. But anyway, I think we all need to make a mental note to be proud of what we do. You know, be proud of the beautiful pieces that we create, and not be afraid to take it in public and to show people how beautiful it can be. I know a lot of people are thinking, you know, it's still ducks and mauve and blue, you know, baby blue, and it's entirely different. So I think we as stitchers need to be a little more proud and vocal about our art, because that's what it is. It's an art form, and maybe take that opportunity to to teach people who maybe really don't know what they're talking about. So I don't know. We'll see. It was just a thought I had. Cassie Jo asked what the last fabric I chose in the previous video, and I wanted to point out the last fabric I showed was Ween Beans, and it's from Needle Bling, and I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it was probably 40 count. But I wanted to point out that underneath the, you know, when you're watching a video, if you're watching it on your phone or on your laptop or even your iPad, underneath the picture there's a little down arrow. I don't know if I can illustrate that to you on my phone. Let me see. Let me see. Shut up. Okay, so next to the, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but next to this, to the title and stuff, there's this little down arrow. And if you hit that down arrow, it brings up information for you. And I usually try to put in all the fabrics that I show you in a video in the order in which I show them. So from first to last. And any floss substitutions that I do, I put that in there also. I try and remember to put the name of the chart and the designer. So, and then all my contact information is in there, so in case you need to contact me about something. But it's fine to ask me the question in the comments, but if you don't want to wait for my response for a week or two, sometimes you can check that area and and see if I've got the information in there, because that might get you the answer you need faster than waiting for me to do another video. So I hope that helps, not just Cassie Jo, but everyone else. A lot of you mentioned wanting me to post the girls' weekend video, and I did. It's gotten a lot of views, not many comments, but a lot of views. And I hope those of you who did watch it had a good time. We sure enjoyed the weekend. Stacy Henson asked where I learned to frame. That is kind of a long story. She wanted to know if there was classes or something. I'm sure someone somewhere teaches classes. I did not learn via a class. I learned by volunteering at a frame shop, with the idea of purchasing it. They would only let me, only teach me if I was thinking about purchasing the business. I had no idea if I was going to be any good at it, you know, so I couldn't promise them that I was going to buy the business, but I said sure, I'd think about it. And so I worked there for a time for free. Learned everything that I could about framing. It's not just, you know, I didn't just learn how to frame needlework. They didn't do a whole lot of needlework at that time. I learned to frame, you know, a large variety of different things, and in the end I didn't buy the shop at that point. Dan had lost his job, and that just wasn't an option, so I just continued to volunteer my time. I volunteered my time for a number of years. I did get to frame my stuff for free, so that was good. But yeah, that's how I learned. It all started with a piece that I had framed by Hobby Lobby, and I had cheaped out and did a ready-made frame, so the borders, the edges around it weren't even. There was more space on the, I think there was more space on the sides than there was on the top and the bottom. And I'm a balanced person, so that it drove me insane. Short trip. And I eventually took it apart, and I had paid for acid-free everything, you know, foam board, mat board. But that is not what I got. And I was pissed off. So someone had recommended this other shop to me, and I took it there to get it reframed. And while I was there is when I asked, you know, do you ever teach anyone how to do this? You know, take on an apprentice. And that's how the whole thing started, was with the taking apart what had been done and finding out it wasn't done to what my specifications were. So I hope that helps you. Chris Summer asked about when I'm taking in a piece for framing, how do I like it to be presented? I mean, in a perfect world, I'd like it to be clean, and I'd like it to be ironed and ready to go. That very rarely happens. I do like it to be clean. That being said, you know, you really sometimes can't wash your item because of the overdyed flosses and the overdyed fabrics. And you don't want to mess with those most of the time. And even DMC can run. So it used to be, back in the day when there wasn't so much overdyed, that I would wash people's things if they told me it was DMC. And then I had DMC run and ruin a piece. That was the last time that I did it for a customer. From then on, it was like, you know, you do you wash it. And as far as the ironing of it goes, you don't really iron, you press. If you iron, you can stretch it all out of shape, which is not good if you're trying to get it framed. So you press. So push down, lift up, push down, lift up. I don't slide the iron over. You can steam them lightly if you want to do that to help the wrinkles fall out. The best advice I can give you is to keep your hands clean. Wash them frequently when you're stitching. Use a grime guard on your fabric. It's one of the reasons why when I use a Q-snap, which is what I use when I stitch in the ditch so that my fabric is rolled towards the stitching area, and my hand, if I don't have a grime guard, is on the back side of the fabric rather than the front side of the fabric. So if my hands do happen to get a little sweaty or a little dirty, it's on the back side. It's not going to ruin the front side. But like I said, the best thing you can do is keep your hands clean, clean, and use a grime guard, because that will help protect the fabric. So clean. It doesn't have to be ironed. You know, I don't want it brought in a wadded up ball. I have had that. But you know, anything else is usually pretty good, because I usually lightly steam, and then when in the stretching process I can usually get, Aida is difficult. If you use a hoop on Aida, sometimes you cannot get those hoop marks out of that Aida, so I caution you there. Please remove your stitching from your hoop every night. So cleaned and somewhat non-wrinkly is a good idea. I take care of it from there. I also really prefer if people do a 3-inch border around rather than a 2-inch, because it gives, you know, framing is really hard on your hands and your wrists, and it gives you more to grip rather than pinch. Pinching causes the problem that I had and had to have surgery for. Gripping is much better. So having more to grip is better for a framer. Most framers will say, "Oh yeah, that's fine. 2 inches is fine. Oh, I can make that work." Yeah, we can make it work. But you know, at some point their hands are going to give out. So if you can help us frame longer, then we'd appreciate it. Okay, so I think that was all the questions and comments. So let us get started with the chart of the week. Means is it's what are we calling it? Sampler September, the September soiree. I've heard various versions of that. I chose a sampler, a new one. Well, it was new to me. I don't know if it was released for some special event or not, but Mary Ann Smith, 1835, from the Scarlett House. I thought that was really pretty. I like the softness of the colors, although the colors in real life are not quite right. Ran into that a couple of times with some new stuff this week, that the colors were really different. So anyway, that's what I have chosen. And let me give you some information. The model was stitched on 40 count Newcastle summer khaki linen. Stitches are over 1 and 2 threads, so there is some over 1 in this, and they used a Vera Soie 103 silk. There are Algerian eyelets, and she does provide a DMC conversion, which is what I use because I don't have very many of the 103s. Stitch count is 278 by 271, and I think that's all the pertinent information. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 colors. So let me show you 40 count summer khaki, and then I'll show you the floss on top of it. So this particular batch of my summer khaki is pretty green. Summer khaki sometimes comes in more khaki-like, sometimes it's more green. This particular batch is more green, and I don't know if it will show up that way on your end of things or not. So that's the called for. And like I said, these are the DMCs, and they're a little bit brighter than what the picture makes them look. They're very pretty, but the picture is definitely not as bright as these colors. Let me show it to you again. So, and one more time. Okay, that is 40 count. Now I'm going to show you 36 count summer khaki, which is more on that khakier side. I don't know if you'll be able to tell the difference. Yeah. This has got more brown in it. This has more green in it. This is the 36 count. And I don't have a lot of it, but I wanted to show it to you. And there's the colors again. I hope everyone had a good week. Today it's raining today. We sure needed the rain. I mean, pretty much the entire west half of the country needed rain. And we're getting it today. Abby said the farm got almost 3 inches overnight, and it was supposed to rain all day, so that was good. It's going to delay. They were just about ready to start harvest, so it'll delay harvest a little bit, but she said it wasn't a real biggie issue. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to show you is 40 count platinum Newcastle linen. To me, this looks more like what the picture looks like. So I thought I would show you something like that. And the colors look fine on here. So if you like the cover, this would be a good option. Okay. Next up is, this is 18 count Colonial Parchment from hand dyed by Stephanie. The other was a Zweigart. Both the summer khaki and the platinum are both a Zweigart. This is hand dyed by Stephanie, and it would be on the lighter side, but I think everything would show up well. Quite the pile of fabric over here on this side. I'm watching it kind of slide off to the side, and if it slides too far, it's going to slide right onto the floor, and we don't want that. This is 46 count vintage Strawflower from Lakeside Linens. It's a light yellowy, soft yellow with a pink blush to it. It's very pretty fabric. I like it, but I find that a lot of people have a problem with the pink blush. I think it depends on the floss, but I think it's pretty with this. Then this is 40 count flax. I think that would look pretty. I'll bet some of you are thinking to yourself, when is she going to get to the dark colors? It's coming. It's coming. The dark colors are coming. Yeah, I need to make sure I put this in the right order so I get it written down correctly. Okay, we've got some 16 count antique lace from Seraphim. I think that would be pretty. What do you think? And next is 32 count antique lace, also from Seraphim. Looks pretty much like the, and this doesn't happen often, the Aida, color-wise. Different fabrics take the dye differently, and a lot of times they don't really look the same, but in this particular instance it did. Okay, this is 36 count Saltbush from Fox and Rabbit. It's kind of a khaki greenish color, not maybe as green as my 40 count summer khaki, but I think the colors are pretty on there. And then, and I need to get some of this ordered because I showed it that last time and it kind of flew out of here. 36 count Dolphin from Weeks Dye Works. I am in love with this color. I like the darkness, I like the tone. The colors look good on it. So this would be the 36 count Dolphin. Now, the one floss that may be an issue would be this one, which is, no glasses, 3768. And I would, if I was stitching on this one, which I probably would be, I would just switch it up to 926, and I think it would be fine. I think that's really pretty. Really, really pretty. So that's it. That's all the fabrics I have. That was quite a number of them. I hope you found one that you liked. And you can let me know in the comments if you did. It's a pretty sampler. So even though the colors are brighter, it's pretty sampler and the colors are pretty. Question for you this week. I want to make sure I have it in front of me so I get it correct. I would like to request, I'm going to demand that you answer this one. No, I would like as many people as possible to answer this particular question for me. I want to know about your fabric preferences. So what type of fabric do you stitch on? Do you prefer Aida? Do you prefer even weave, be it Jobelin or Lugana? Verdal? What count is your favorite count to work on? Your happy place. Yes, you can work on other things, but what's your happy place? I would say my happy place is 40. I can work on pretty much anything, but my happy place is 40 count. And I prefer linen. I have nothing against Aida. I just don't like the look of it or the stiffness of most of it. So I prefer linen. Even weave is fine. Again, I just prefer the look. It's a more rustic look to me. And most of what I stitch is more rustic. And I don't know that rustic is the actual word I want to use, but it's what's coming to my head right now. So, you know, what count, what type, do you have a favorite dyer? Whose fabric do you like the most? I do have people come in and they'll comment that I'll lay out a fox and rabbit. Oh, I've never stitched on fox and rabbit before. Which I find, I'm not going to say funny, but most of the fabrics these days use Zweigart as the base. So I think it's funny that people think it's going to be different from, you know, Seraphim's fabric dyed on Zweigart is going to feel different from Picture This Plus dyed on Zweigart. They're both a Zweigart base, but Picture This Plus does feel a little bit rougher, and I would imagine that that's probably something to do with their dyeing process. I don't personally care who the dyer is. I go for the color and the feel of the fabric. You know, if it's stiff, I don't want it too loose. I don't want it stiff. I love Weeks Dye Works colors. I don't like their normal base. I just don't like how loose it is. The upper counts are better than the lower counts, but like I'm struggling with that Harvest Keeper because I don't care for the fabric. It's just too thin for my liking. So do you have a favorite dyer? And do you have a favorite color of linen? Do you find yourself always going to Chocolate Milk from Stephanie? Or do you find yourself going to Raw Natural, which is just a Zweigart base? Or is there a pattern to what you go to? Do you go to light fabrics? Do you go to dark fabrics? We all know I prefer dark fabrics, but every once in a while a light fabric catches my eye and I'll work on it. So I'm kind of curious. I just kind of want to know what your preferences are, and I'd like as many people as possible to answer. If you could please take the time to do so. So that's your question. It's a big one. It's a big one. So I will very much appreciate your responses. And then I guess that's it. I don't think I have anything else for this video. I'm going to kind of leave everything else for the next video, which will be, in case you want to tune in, I'll show my my 4 pieces that I got framed right before the State Fair. 1, 2, 3, 5 pieces. I framed 5 right before the State Fair. 4 of them went to the fair, so I'll share those 5 with you. I got some questions from people on my last video, so I'll answer those, and just a few other things to talk about. So if you want to tune in, I'd appreciate it. I know some of you just tune in for this Chart of the Week video, but you should check out the rest. All right, I'm going to let you go because I do have to film that, and I got to go home. I got Zoom tonight. Sometime I got to squeeze in some food because I haven't eaten since breakfast, and I am getting a little hungry. So I will see you hopefully next weekend for another Chart of the Week video. If not, it will be this other video. Or you might get two. I don't know. Hope you get a lot of stitching done, and take care till next time. Bye.